my name's Eileen and I want to welcome you to Haunted Crafting. Now, since everybody's holidays, including Halloween, are looking a little bit different this year, the library wanted to make sure that we could still celebrate and bring some cheer to your households. So this year we have brought you 2 crafting programs with take and make bags. Today we are going to be making spooky spidery dream catchers. Now I am super excited about this craft, so I hope you guys are ready and excited. So we're going to get started. Before I go over what is in your take and make bag in terms of supplies, I wanted to show you guys my finished dream catcher, just so you can have an idea of what you're working towards. So here is my example for you guys. This is just a paper plate, some yarn, beads, feather, and a few fun stickers and crayons for decorating. And mine is actually 2-sided, so this side is purple and this side is black, and then we've got some nice little yarn and feathers and some beads here at the bottom. Now I want to go over what you received in your take and make bag in terms of supplies. Now, if you don't already have your take and make bag, that means you haven't registered at the library for this program yet. So make sure to stop into the library or call us curbside from the parking lot to get your take and make bag. All right, so here is what your take and make bag looks like. It's got a sticker on the front that says Haunted Crafting Spooky Spidery Dream Catchers, and that's the program that we're going to be doing today. So what you guys see here on the table is everything you should have received in your take and make bag. There are going to be 3 pieces of orange yarn, 3 pieces of purple yarn, then there's this really long piece of black yarn that's actually balled up a little bit and put in a plastic baggie, so everybody should have that. And then here is a Halloween sticker sheet, a paper plate with a bunch of hole punches in it, 3 crayons, 1 orange, 1 black, and 1 purple. Then you should also have received 4 kinds of beads. Now, there's 6 green beads, 6 orange beads, and 6 purple beads. And then you might be thinking, oh, there's these 3 clear beads. Now, these are actually glow-in-the-dark beads. So if you hold them under the sun or under a lamp for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and then you go into a dark room, they're gonna glow in the dark. And then the last 2 things everybody received are some feathers. Now, yours might not be pink, green, yellow, and black. You could have black and blue or black and orange. There's a variety of different colors you could have received. And lastly, you should have received a little spider ring. Now mine is purple, hoping you guys can see that. Mine is purple, but you could have also received one that is orange or green. So that should be everything in your take and make bag. The only thing you need today to complete this craft that is not in your bag is a pair of scissors. So make sure you have a pair of scissors handy that we can use. Before we get started with the step-by-step instructions on how to complete your spooky spidery dream catcher, I wanted to show you an up-close shot of my dream catcher. Now, the first thing that I want to let you guys know is that I expect everybody's dream catcher is going to look different than mine. There's a lot of creative freedom when it comes to this project, so I'm going to give you guys some tips and suggestions on what you can do differently. And again, if you want to copy mine, you can, but I encourage you to use your own creativity to create a very unique and personalized dream catcher for yourself. So as you can see here, the black yarn that is in your little Ziploc baggie is going to be for the center. Now that one is longer than both the orange and the purple strings that you received because we need to make sure that we can thread it through all of the holes that are punched around the outside of our paper plate here. Now the other thing I want to show you guys, and I'm actually going to show you on your paper plate here. So the first step is you're going to want to find your paper plate. And then you're going to want to locate the top of the paper plate, which has 2 holes punched into it. So I'm going to show you guys that. Okay, the top has 2 holes punched into it, and then the bottom has 3 holes punched into it. So here's the bottom, and those are going to be the 3 holes where your yarn is going to be tied to at the bottom there. Okay, so does everybody have the top of their paper plate? All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start by decorating your paper plate first. Now, you have a sticker sheet and 3 colors of crayons. You've got purple, orange, and black. And these can be used to decorate your paper plate. Now, the really, really important thing that I want you guys to know is if you want to use your stickers, you need to put them down onto your paper plate first. If you color your paper plate with crayons and then try to stick your stickers on it, they won't stick because crayons are waxy and they won't allow those stickers to stick. So I'm going to show you my example one again so you can see I stuck my stickers on and then I colored my paper plate. And again, I made the front of my paper plate black and the back side purple. Okay, and you guys don't have to use the stickers. I love stickers, so I went crazy with them. But you could, if you're more artistic, you could draw your own designs. You could draw pumpkins, you could draw witches, you could draw scary monsters. And if you guys have some crayons at home, like green and red and all the other colors, feel free to use those as well. We just wanted to give you a few starter crayons to get started. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add a few stickers here and there onto my paper plate. And because the paper plate has ridges, you're gonna wanna use your fingers to really press those stickers into the ridges. And when you color, don't be afraid to kind of press down on the paper plate and just shape it a little bit. It'll be easier for you to color if you just let the paper plate go where it wants to go, and it'll just retain its shape once you release your crayon. So I'm just gonna color a little section to show you guys what I'm talking about. So right here, all those ridges I'm gonna get in my crayon. And once you're done with the front of your dream catcher, you can go ahead and do the same thing on the back side. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a few more stickers here and stick those right on. And then give it another little color here. So this time I went with purple on the front and orange on the back. You could decide to do stripes. You could decide, I don't want to color it at all. I just want it to be white with stickers. So again, there's lots of options for you guys to choose from here. All right, so I'm just gonna do that little section just to give you guys an example. I don't want to spend my whole time here coloring the plate. So there you go. There is the start of my paper plate. And again, the top has the 2 holes in it and the bottom has the 3 holes. So keep that in mind when you're decorating. All right, so once you guys have decorated your paper plate and you're completely done with it and totally in love with it, we can go ahead and get started on the next step. And the next step, you're gonna wanna grab your decorated paper plate, your Ziploc baggie with the black yarn in it, and then you're gonna wanna grab some of your beads. All right, so I've got my beads, my yarn, my black yarn, and my finished decorated paper plate. And I'm gonna bring my finished dream catcher out for a second because I just want to show you guys so you can make some decisions here. With the black yarn, we're gonna string it through all of the 12 holes around the perimeter of the inside circle, okay? Now, I decided that I wanted to put some of my beads woven through that webbing right there, okay? So you can see that I have some orange, purple, and green beads. Now, the thing is I also used some of my beads at the bottom of my dream catcher. So you can see here that before the feathers, I also have some beads on my orange and purple yarn, okay? So I want you guys to keep in mind that we'll be using beads for the center part as well as the bottom here with all of the feathers, all right? So don't use all your beads in one place if you want to save some for the other sections. So I have my paper plate here in hand, and we're gonna go ahead and start our web in the center here. And what we're gonna do is, do you guys see the 12 holes that are punched on the inside perimeter here? All right, that's what we're gonna be threading our black yarn through. So go ahead and get your black yarn out of your bag. Now we put the black yarn in the bag because this is such a long piece of string. We didn't want it to get tangled up with any of the other supplies in your bag, okay? So go ahead and get your black string out and get one end of it. So once you have that one end handy, we are gonna pick whatever hole, one of the 12 holes that go right around the perimeter of your paper plate. Okay, we're gonna take one of them and we're just gonna thread the first end of your black yarn right through there. And then we're gonna give it a little bit of a knot so that it stays put. Now you don't wanna pull so hard when you're tightening it that you end up ripping your hole, okay? You wanna make sure you're gonna pull it just tight enough so that it stays, but not tight enough that you're gonna rip the paper plate, right? And I always do 2 knots just to be safe. I don't want that to come undone. All right, so here's what we've got. We've got my paper plate with the black yarn tied through one of the 12 holes around the outside there. All right, then we're gonna find the other end of our black yarn. And to create our spider web effect, we are going to string it through the remaining 11 holes around your paper plate. So what we wanna do to create that web effect is we wanna pick a hole that's across from the hole that we originally tied our black yarn to. Okay, so always go across because we wanna create that nice spider web look, all right? So I picked this hole directly across and we're just gonna pull it all the way through. So pull it all the way through. And then I'm gonna pick another hole across from that one and I'm just gonna continue this until all 12 holes have been threaded through. So you can kind of see here, we're just gonna keep threading it. And we're always gonna pick a hole across from the one we just did. I have 3 more holes to go. So here I go. We're gonna do 1 more here. One more over here. And then I'm gonna go down to my last one. All right, so there's my last hole that I just put that through. So there you go. Now I've got my little cobweb and all of those 12 holes have been threaded through. I still have my 2 holes at the top and my 3 holes at the bottom. Now, the last step to finishing your black yarn is you're gonna wanna tie it off. And again, here I'm gonna use 2 little knots, and you could do this however you want. If you need some help, you might have to ask an older sibling or a parent or a grandparent, any adult or older person in your house to help you. Because we definitely don't want that to come undone, all right? So we wanna give it a nice knot, and I'm gonna do 2 again, just to be on the safe side. And then we've got a bunch of extra string on the end there. So I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just gonna cut those right there. All right, I'm gonna cut the little ends off. If you're someone that decided they did wanna put beads on the center here of your dream catcher, what you can do is before you thread your black yarn through the next hole, you can just thread a bead right onto there. All right, and you can just keep doing that till you have all the beads in the center that you want. For the next step, you're gonna want your 3 pieces of purple yarn, your 3 pieces of orange yarn, your feathers, your beads, and your dream catcher that's in the works. What we're gonna do is we are going to prep the bottom of your dream catcher. And the bottom of your dream catcher, remember, is the place with the 3 holes at the bottom. And this is where we are going to thread 3 of your pieces of yarn with the feather tied at the end and then some beads to keep it weighted. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna decide, do you want the 3 pieces of yarn at the bottom to be orange, purple, or a mix between the 2? And in case you guys don't remember, here's what the bottom of my dream catcher looks like. So right now I've got orange, purple, orange, and then I've got a black feather at the bottom, and then I've got a collection of some beads on each here. For my dream catcher here that I'm working on, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use my purple yarn this time. So I'm gonna set all of my 3 pieces of orange yarn aside. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is take your first piece of shorter yarn, remember either purple or orange, and one of your feathers. And again, your feathers can be all sorts of colors. All right, and what we wanna do is we wanna tie it to the end of our piece of yarn. So we're gonna take the tip of our feather, which is a little pointy, there's a little bit of a stiff, plasticky piece in the middle there. And so you're gonna take your yarn, you're gonna wrap it around your feather, and you're gonna tie it on. And I'm gonna go ahead and give it another double knot. Okay, so now I have my first piece of yarn with a single feather attached at the bottom. And if you have extra feathers, you can go ahead and do 2 feathers if you want. And then I'm going to string some beads on, and I'm gonna take one of my orange beads, I'm gonna do orange. And then I'm gonna take one of my glow beads, because I love the glow in the dark beads, so I'm gonna take one of those. And this part, threading the beads, is probably the hardest part. So again, you might have to have some patience here or have an adult help you. Sometimes it helps if you get the end of your yarn wet or twist it. That'll help you get it through all of those beads. And sometimes this one, oh, this bead has a little plastic stuck in it, so I gotta take that out. So again, I'm just gonna continue to thread those. So once you have your feather attached and all your beads on each of your 3 pieces of yarn, you are officially ready to attach them to your paper plate. Here you guys can see I have my 3 pieces of yarn with my 3 feathers attached and some beads threaded on at the bottom there. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna take your 3 pieces of yarn with your feathers and your paper plate, and you're gonna tie those 3 pieces of yarn into those 3 holes at the bottom of your dream catcher, okay? So here we go. I'm just gonna take the first one and I'm gonna go ahead and thread it through there, and I'm just gonna give it a nice little knot there. And again, for safety, I'm gonna do 2 knots on each of these. So there's that. And if you need to trim your yarn once you've tied them, you can do that at the end here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I know I'm moving my paper plate around, so feel free to do what you need to do to get those tied. And I do have a little bit of yarn popping up out of each of them, so I'm gonna just take my scissors and just trim that right up there. Now, my dream catcher has the 3 pieces attached to it there at the bottom with the feathers. All right, so we've only got 2 more steps left to finish our dream catchers. The second to last step in finishing your dream catcher is to take your remaining pieces of yarn, and you only need 1 of the 3 remaining pieces, and you want to create a loop up here with these 2 holes so that you can actually hang it somewhere. So I have my 3 pieces of orange yarn left over, and you could have whatever colors remaining depending on what you used at the bottom. Now I'm going to take my orange piece here, and I'm going to thread it through the first hole at the top. And I'm gonna give it a nice tie. And again, I'm doing my double knots. And then I'm gonna go ahead and thread it through my other hole, the second hole up here. And again, I'm just gonna give it a nice little tie. And I'm gonna double knot it. And then once I'm done, I've got some extra thread there that I'm gonna cut. So I'm just gonna give those a little snip. And there we go. Now we have a nice little loop up here where we can hang our dream catchers. Now the name of these dream catchers are Spooky Spidery Dream Catchers, and I can't call them that unless we actually gave you guys a spider. So in your bags, find your plastic spider ring, and again, this could be purple, mine's purple, it could be orange or lime green. Once you found it, go ahead and find the opening on the actual circle ring part of your ring. You can see here that it opens up a little bit and it separates, and that's how we're gonna hang it on our dream catcher. So here I have my dream catcher, and here's our little center cobweb in the middle, and I have my purple spider ring. I'm just gonna take that and I'm gonna loop it on some of the threads there, and there we go. We have my spooky, spidery dream catcher complete now. I hope you guys had fun today following along with me on our very first arts and crafts project. Now, since you can't be here at the library to do these projects, and we always love to see the final products that you guys create, we would love for you to send us either a picture or a video of you completing this craft. So please send us some feedback to the email address you see on the screen below. I'm super excited to see what you guys create, and just remember, I expect that everybody's is going to be unique and super creative to who you are. And I'm going to give you guys one more sneak peek of my finished dream catcher. So here you go. Before I say my final goodbye for today, I just want to remind everybody that we have another craft program coming up later this month, Lighted Luminaries. So look out for that. Registration starts Tuesday, October 20th. Hope to see you guys there. Bye for now.